Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 21, Best Bassline Ever. Just a quick reminder, on our website, we have our latest album, Remember, for sale on a pay what you want thing. And also about a week ago, we did a little mini reunion live on Facebook with the Granite Ave and Believe album crew. That was Aaron and Dan and Ryan. And we also had Tim Faust, who was in the band just before Ryan came in. We had a great time, and that's streaming on our Facebook page, so check that out. All right, like many of these, I don't know if this is the best bass line ever, but it's the first thing that comes to mind for me, and that is Rio by Duran, played by John Taylor. Now, before we get into talking about this, bass lines have always been something that I've always loved. As part of the rhythm section, growing up, when I was younger, I played bass, and I loved it. I was terrible at it, but I loved it. And disco, Motown, and of course, funk music, dance music, where the bass was a huge part of it, were always favorites for me. Red Hot Chili Peppers, James Brown, Earth, Wind and Fire, Prince, so many of these greats. But one band when I was young, Duran, was the songs that I played the most when I was learning bass. And this was a big influence on me and rhythm section in general, but much more bass than drums. Now, in pop music today, you hear a lot of cool retro stuff, and I think one of the things that's been really cool to hear in some songs in recent years, even through this phone speaker, you can probably hear that bass line. Right? I mean, and one thing that's so great is not just the bass line itself, but how far up that bass is mixed so that it just pops out and just hits you over the head with how awesome it is. Another even more recent song, Dua Lipa, and I think I've mentioned this before, or at least this album that I've really been digging, Don't Start Now, right? And how that... Right? I mean, just a fantastic bass line, but again, it's the way that it's mixed in and just really hits you over the head with how great it is. Now, unfortunately, in Rio, the bass line is mixed way in the back. It was not the first thing that I heard or noticed. You really have to listen and be able to get this. What happened was I was looking for a track of the bass line isolated by itself. Sometimes you can find those things where you can get only the bass line and hear it, so that I could play it for you and you could revel in all its gloriousness. I was not able to find it. Anything that did link to it was taken away. But what I did found, just posted this month, John Taylor from Duran has recently been doing a series of bass lessons and talking about bass lines, especially his own in Duran, and he just put out one on Rio. Oh! So I'm going to link to that, and you can hear him playing this bass line. Of course, it's contemporary him, and he's just kind of playing to a drum machine in the background, but focus on his playing. What I love about it is that it's syncopated, and it just moves throughout the whole song. A little busy, a little too busy, I don't know. It's definitely busy, but I would say not too busy. There's just a lot going on in the song, the keyboards, the drums, and everything else. But when you hear him talking about it, he talks about it almost as if it was somebody else that did it and how great it is, but it doesn't really come across as conceited. Just that the fact that this thing just happened to work so well. It just moves throughout the song, but my favorite part is when it gets to about 3.5 minutes in this video. And you can tell he totally enjoys it as well. He talks about this section as just being completely bonkers. And it's great to hear him talking about the bass line and how it fits into the build and the flow of the whole song. Now, this part that I'm talking about is just before the saxophone solo. Yep, we're in the 80s. Can't get that out of me. But it's this part right here. Bass kind of goes up, kind of goes down, and it just kind of keeps nice and mellow, right? But you're going to hear the bass line really pick up right here as the drums come back in. Check it out. You probably can't hear it. I can hear it because I've listened to it so many times. It just sticks out, and it's so awesome and so amazing. The playing is great. It's so rhythmic. It's so syncopated, and it's just so melodic. It just kind of has everything to it. There's a little bit of slapping to it, and the sound itself of the bass is one of my favorite bass sounds of all time. It's just a little bit soft, a little bit muted, but you can hear every single note. So that is Rio by Duran, John Taylor playing the bass. Fantastic. I love all the stuff, especially on early Duran, where it's very new wavy and just all the stuff they have going on. The fact that the bass line was given prominence by him and played just like a lead instrument was so fantastic. So thanks for checking in. If you have a favorite bass line, please make sure to comment below, because I'd love to check it out and hear some of your favorites out there. And maybe we'll do some more later, but this is my ultimate favorite. Take care.